Good evening, meteorologist Jeremy Capel with you. A late day update coming in from the Storm Prediction Center. As many of you all know, a moderate risk of severe weather was issued this morning. They just updated us here, and that moderate risk does continue, but they did shift it a little bit to the south where they're expecting multiple episodes of severe thunderstorms with the potential for all hazards, so all modes of severe weather potential this evening and overnight tonight. Unfortunately, it could be a long night for portions of the deep south from the lower Mississippi River Valley across the eastern southern plains and back in across Dixie portions of the Gulf Coast. All right, that's your overview. We've got a couple areas of concern as you take a look at the Storm Prediction Center's convective outlook. There's a minor area of concern that we're not going to really touch on much across southern Virginia and also into northern North Carolina. That's primarily for some small hail. Not a big deal with that one, but it is a much larger deal what we're dealing with here across the south. That is that moderate risk in red. So again, a fairly rare, and although we have seen a number of these this season, it's not too frequent that you do see a moderate risk, and you definitely want to take them very seriously. That moderate risk does extend from the Texarkana area, so Texarkana of southwest Arkansas, northeastern Texas. You make your way near Shreveport, Monroe, you're in it. You make your way across southern portions of Arkansas, northeastern sections of Louisiana, a good chunk of central and southern Mississippi, and then into far western portions of Alabama. That's in the red. That's the moderate risk. Enhanced risk in the orange outside of that does extend to Birmingham and Montgomery, Mobile for late tonight, and as we head towards very early tomorrow morning as well. The moderate risk, enhanced risk I should say, does extend further west as well, where some severe weather is ongoing and slight risk outside of that area. So this is your day one outlook. Let's take a look at probabilities. Wind, the wind threat is quite legitimate there, where you've got that red. That's a 30%, but in that area that's bound by the was that a pink color or so, that's where you could be looking at a widespread wind event. Probably not quite meeting the definition of a derecho, but you could have a long wind event that spans a large distance, and that's going to be from a couple of nasty squall lines that are expected to develop here during the overnight period tonight. So wind is going to be your biggest risk factor. There is a risk of some large and damaging hail. That's primarily for this evening in the areas in red. As far as the tornado threat is concerned, they've actually added an area here, and let me explain real quick. So anywhere in green, that's a 2%. If you see the darker green, maybe kind of the muddier green I should say, that is a 5%, and then there's the 10% tornado risk area that extends from Texarkana all the way through Jackson, Mississippi to near Hattiesburg. So that's the 10%. But if you look closer there, there's that brighter area of yellow. That hatched area is actually reserved for when they're expecting the possibility of stronger tornadoes. So they're in their wording are the possibility of F2 to F5 tornadoes. I personally do not expect F5s tonight, not in this setup, but certainly F2, F3, and heaven forbid a possible F4 during the overnight period tonight. All right, so let's get into this. We'll make this video shoot for around 10 minutes total length here, and we appreciate the likes and shares with this forecast product. Let's take you on over, take a look at what's happening with the satellite today. Storms just absolutely blowing up with the heating. There's multiple areas across the south that we're actually watching for this. And so let's bring you on into here. You can see two separate areas of thunderstorms. One across the southeast. And right now, this is not a problem. It's actually helping to stabilize the atmosphere across portions of Georgia, southeastern Alabama. Right now, the Florida Panhandle. But it's out west. That's where that upper low is located, and on its periphery, we've got an MCS that has developed across portions of northeastern Texas into Arkansas, and that's the area that's going to be of most concern. Let's take a closer look at this because it's the area that's in between. And when I say it's the area that's in between, it's this area that's been getting all this heating today, where they've got temperatures running 80, 85 degrees all the way from the Gulf Coast up into middle Mississippi. I should just about the entirety of the state of Mississippi experiencing good heating right now. And that's also where we're seeing these CAPE values, or that's that convective available potential energy. That's where that's also very high. Taking a look at current CAPE values here, and you can see kind of like it's like the warmer the color, the more juiced the atmosphere is, and you can see clearly that you've got a lot of instability. In the orange there, you're talking about instability in the order of 2,000 units. While in the red, right here, that's 4,000. So widespread CAPE of 3 to 4,000 has developed with heating of the day, and that certainly is going to play a factor once we get into the overnight period, or this evening, and then into the overnight period tonight. A lot of juice, and it's going to remain there. So that's a part of the reason that we're as concerned as we are. We'll take a look at your FUTURECAST models here in a moment, but I wanted to show you the general setup. Low pressure making its way out of the lower Mississippi River Valley will lift north. Severe weather will shift to the east and south during the overnight period. So these lows originating out of the southern plains, severe threat hatched in red for this evening, and then this is the overnight period tonight with a quasi-warm front developing, and then by tomorrow things are going to be looking better, although there is still a severe risk associated with this even into the day tomorrow. Let's take a look at some of these severe parameters. And we'll take a look at CAPE, we'll take a look at what the upper level winds are doing, and then we're going to jump right on into your severe indices and future radar. So here you go. And don't forget to give us a thumbs up if you're appreciating the information that we're putting out, and feel free to share this video as well. So this is your CAPE for this evening, showing those areas of 3 to 4,000. 4,000 is in purple. And so CAPE up to 4,000 through mid-evening, and then we're still looking at CAPE overnight tonight, even though it's going to drift south of where the squall lines eventually develop, but they're still going to remain very healthy on the order of 2 to 3,000 units across portions of Mississippi and Louisiana, and then late tonight maybe across portions of southern Alabama as well. So plenty of fuel for these storms. What about wind shear? What about the winds aloft? And you can see them increasing right now. They're already increasing across portions of Arkansas, where we are looking at wind shear in the order of about 50 to 70 knots. That's plenty of upper level wind that'll help to fuel these thunderstorms once they get going. So what does that mean as far as the potential of tornadoes? Well, let's look at the supercell composite briefly. And we're seeing these supercell composites. They're going to be highest this evening across northern portions of Louisiana, moving out of Texas, where you're looking at the oranges, the reds, where you do have some spin available in the atmosphere, and likely any storm that gets out of the main line will have a tendency to rotate. This is the STP, or the significant tornado parameter. And you can see some hot pockets there across northern Louisiana this evening. And even into the overnight period tonight, these STPs are high. This is very high. This is actually midnight tonight. And so I'll pause it here. All the way into middle Mississippi and all of, a lower half of and southeastern portions of Louisiana, looking at some pretty high numbers here. In that purple, that's 6, 7, 8 units of STP, or significant tornado parameter. That's got my attention. If any storm gets out ahead of the main squall line, or even individual rotators within the squall line, it could put down a significant tornado. That's what that tells me. All right, let's take a look at your FUTURECAST radar, and we'll get you through this evening right here, walking you through the next few hours. The initial squall line makes its way into northern Mississippi. This one's not going to be, I don't think that one's going to be, I think initially it's severe. It's severe now. It'll be severe, and then it's going to begin to lose its steam once the CAPE, or the convective available potential energy, begins to die off. It's at that point that late tonight, and unfortunately could have overnight tornadoes with this, that we'll be watching for that secondary line of strong to severe thunderstorms developing first across northern portions of Louisiana. And then you can see a kind of a third squall that develops right there. Central Louisiana, this is according to the high-res NAM, the late run of the high-res NAM, showing you very, very nasty looking squall line, and could have embedded rotators or a QLCS, that's a quasi-linear convective system, where, again, even late tonight, there's going to be that tornado threat, southern portions of Louisiana and southern Mississippi. And then into the day tomorrow, we start off with a legit severe threat across southern portions of Alabama and into the Florida Panhandle. That's going to occur before this thing finally gusts out and encounters some more stable air. And actually, your severe threat will go down during the day tomorrow. That's not typical, but that's what it looks like, at least for this particular setup. So as we summarize here, this is the threat for today, for this evening and tonight. That moderate risk, again, stretching from Texarkana all the way through central Mississippi, southern Mississippi, and into far western portions of Alabama. Enhanced risk outside of that. So this is day one. This ends at 8 a.m. tomorrow. And then from 8 a.m. tomorrow into the day tomorrow, they've got that risk area as it moves a little further east. Not as high, but there is an enhanced, and that enhanced does include Montgomery and also the Florida Panhandle to near Mobile. This will be in the morning, so a lot of people won't be prepared for that. Things should actually stabilize as we go throughout the rest of the day tomorrow. All right, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to find us on our other social medias, which does include Rumble. We're on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Parler, and Patreon. We would love to have you guys if you're not already supporting our endeavors on Patreon. With that being said, I'm going to continue to monitor the situation, and as we need, we will cut in if necessary this evening and later on tonight if the weather warrants. So if the weather gets serious enough, do expect a live update. I'll continue to monitor. In the meantime, a special thanks to some of our patrons. We appreciate you guys very much. Can't do the stuff without you. Shout out to Joanne Fahey, Jim Sauer, Jackie Armstrong, Scott Callaghan, and also Mark White. You guys are the best. You guys stay alert, stay safe, and as mentioned, we'll be back on if we need to this evening. Otherwise, guys, have a great weekend. We will talk soon.